Frontline Briefing, uncovering modern warfare's hidden battles. This is how Ukraine turned a Russian celebration into a $180 million funeral and proved that overconfidence is the deadliest vulnerability in modern warfare. At exactly 3:10 on September 21st, 2025, two Russian Mi-8 helicopters touched down at a covert airbase on the Crimean Peninsula after a 2-hour mission carrying over 60 troops. Each helicopter was valued at roughly $16 million. In an underground operations room in Zaporizhia, Ukrainian sensor crews went nearly silent. Then someone breathed one word: green light. Stay until the end for the cost breakdown and strategic analysis. The numbers are devastating. The Mi-8 crews had no idea they just made a fatal mistake. As they taxied into the technical area for routine maintenance and refueling, the ramp relaxed. Officers pulled off flight suits, poured plastic cups of vodka, and toasted a flawless sortie. They thought they were celebrating success. They were actually painting a target. The heat signatures from their engines had just revealed the exact coordinates of a base Russia believed was hidden. Once Ukraine knew where the nest was, they could burn it to the ground. This wasn't just any airfield. According to open-source intelligence, this base served as one of the few remaining expeditionary hubs in central Crimea. It staged attack helicopters, operated B-12 maritime patrol aircraft, and ran resupply flights to forward logistics nodes. It also housed something even more valuable: a NEBO-U early warning radar capable of tracking hundreds of targets simultaneously across a 300-kilometer range. Eliminate this base and Ukraine wouldn't just destroy hardware, they'd open a 90-kilometer blind sector in Crimean air defense. The defenses were formidable. A Pantsir S-1 air defense system specialized in intercepting UAVs and cruise missiles. Two Podlet K-1 radar stations worked around the clock. The NEBO-U provided long-range early warning with multi-band scanning. Layered, overlapping coverage. Russia believed this base was untouchable, protected, hidden, and beyond the range of Ukrainian ground forces. That confidence was about to become their catastrophic mistake. They watched the sky while Ukraine slipped under the beam. Sometimes the deadliest weapon isn't what you see, it's what you dismiss. At 3:20, minutes after the Mi-8s landed, screens at the Ukrainian command began flashing. Commercial infrared satellite imagery had captured the thermal bloom of aircraft engines still glowing hot on the ramp. A Bayraktar TB-2 reconnaissance drone patrolling outside Crimean airspace was retasked immediately. It descended to 1,650 feet, skimmed the terrain, and slipped into the radar coverage gap that NEBO-U and Podlet K-1 couldn't fully cover. Its composite airframe made it appear on Russian scopes like a small bird. Nearly invisible, but what it saw was crystal clear. The TB-2's electro-optical and infrared sensors revealed the truth. Two Mi-8 helicopters staged for redeployment. Two B-12 maritime reconnaissance aircraft parked near maintenance hangars. Behind them, a cluster of NEBO-U radar antennas and human intelligence confirmed what satellites couldn't see: hundreds of tons of fuel and ammunition in storage yards. If this base were neutralized, the entire southern logistics chain would fracture, air defense effectiveness would fall. Pathways would open for follow-on Ukrainian strikes. The strike plan was activated immediately. A UAV formation that had been covertly deployed for nearly 2 hours received new orders. 5 drones in total, 2 UJ-22 airborne decoys flying high, unarmed. Their mission: emit strong radar signatures, jam communication frequencies, and draw every defense system's attention. They were built to die first, and they would. Exactly behind them, 3 Leote-196 attack drones followed in arrow formation. Flying lower, each carried a shape-charged warhead. They emitted no signals. All guidance ran on internal navigation suites, fully GPS independent, immune to Russian jamming. The objective: strike 3 critical nodes simultaneously: the Mi-8 cluster, the NEBO-U radar, and the B-12 aircraft near the fuel dump. While Russia prepared to celebrate destroying decoys, the real killers flew silently beneath their radar horizon. At 3:27, the trap was sprung. Russia took the bait. The 2 UJ-22 decoys penetrated the first air defense recognition zone. Warning indicators flashed. The local commander ordered full alert on Pantsir S-1 battery went live. In 14 seconds, 2 missiles streaked upward. Twin fireballs bloomed in the sky. Wreckage hit open ground less than 500 meters from the airfield fence. A Russian officer reported, "Clear, both neutralized." Defenses relaxed. The Nebo-U throttled back scan frequency. None of them knew the real attack had only just begun. While the radar swung its beam northwest, the 3 Liu-196s pressed deeper. The lead aircraft made a shallow break off the original axis. The 2 wing elements cut altitude below 100 meters, skimming the low tree line. All 3 slipped into the gap that had opened between radar sweeps while defense crews recalibrated. This maneuver was pre-calculated. A razor-thin window just wide enough to pass through before Russian radars could relock. This is radar evasion craftsmanship. Distance to base under 10 miles. Flight time under 5 minutes. Infrared feeds showed the targets clearly. Mi-8s parked exposed, B-12s at the hangar edge, and the Nebo-U radar uncamouflaged. Ukrainian engineers armed the final dive mode. All 3 Luti drones locked onto their aim points and accelerated into terminal sprint. Countdown: 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Impact. Luti-1 slammed into the Mi-8's engine bay. The flash went white, then a fireball erupted more than 100 meters high. The blast propagated into the second helicopter. Shredding both rotor blades flew onto nearby hangars. Less than a second later, Luti-3 struck the B-12. The airframe tore open, igniting a chain explosion. With surgical precision, Luti-2 drove straight into the Nebo-U radar array. The explosion ripped the night apart. Russia's eye was neutralized. The radar collapsed into a burning heap of twisted metal. The covert airbase turned into an inferno. Russia's communications crackled with a final message. Base under attack, radar damaged, aircraft damaged, requesting immediate assistance. Then silence. In under 7 minutes, the strategic airbase in Crimea had lost all capability. Fires climbed high, smoke trailed for hundreds of meters. Within minutes, secondary detonations erupted. Fuel pools, ammunition bunkers, a command vehicle destroyed by blast pressure. Hours later, satellite imagery showed the damage plainly. 3 Mi-8s reduced to frames, 1 B-12 mangled beyond recognition. The Nebo-U radar collapsed. The ramp was blackened across hundreds of meters. The cost calculation was obscene. Ukraine expended about $150,000. 5 drones total. Russia's losses exceeded $180 million. Return on investment, roughly 1,200 to 1. The tactical lessons are profound. Decoy sacrifice creates exploitable windows. Ultra-low altitude flight defeats radar through physics. Simultaneous strikes overwhelm defense GPS, independent guidance makes jamming irrelevant. And routine operations expose hidden facilities through heat signatures. Russian vulnerabilities were exposed at every level. Radar sweep timing is exploitable. Alert fatigue sets in after initial engagement. Ground clutter hides low-flying threats. And operational security failures, celebrating crews and hot engines, confirm targeting data. Could Russia have prevented this? Better low-altitude radar coverage is limited by physics. Faster alert recovery protocols face human reaction limits. Dispersing assets helps but adds inefficiency. The fundamental problem: defending against $150,000 threats costs tens of millions. Ukraine doesn't need to match Russia's strength, only to make defense economically impossible. The strategic impact goes far beyond burned hardware. With the base neutralized, Russia lost all helicopter lift capacity from this hub. The Nebo-U's destruction created a 90-kilometer blind sector in Crimea. Maritime patrol capability was degraded. Logistics fractured. Flights must now reroute farther east. Increasing transit times and detectability, Russia was forced to suspend all low-level flights and redeploy defenses. This strike fits a deliberate pattern. Ukraine is systematically degrading Crimean infrastructure, not through massive assaults, but precision strikes on key nodes. Each success forces Russia into an impossible choice: disperse assets and lose efficiency, or concentrate them and create perfect targets. Every reaction exposes new gaps. Every gap becomes a new opportunity. Here's the final score. Ukraine, 5 drones expended, 0 casualties, cost $150,000. Russia, 5 aircraft destroyed, radar obliterated, fuel and ammunition stocks incinerated, logistics disrupted, and a 90-kilometer defense gap created ROI 1,200 to 1. In modern warfare, the deadliest vulnerability isn't weak armor or outdated technology, it's overconfidence. Ukraine proved that celebration can be fatal. Russian crews toasted their success, while thermal satellites tracked every hot engine. 7 minutes later, a $180 million base was burning rubble. That's not luck. That's patience, precision, and punishing your enemy's moment of weakness. Was this surgical precision or a Russian operational failure? Could any military defend against this tactic? And what critical nodes should Ukraine target next in Crimea? Drop your analysis below, and if you believe in fighting smart instead of fighting big, hit that like button and subscribe for more breakdowns of modern warfare.